Hello, guys. God bless you. And this is going to be a video on the mark of the beast. And what I've discovered is a lot of Christians they think the only scripture that speaks about the mark of the beast is in Revelation. And everyone's familiar with the passages of buying and selling. You must have this mark. Free and bond, rich and poor, young and old must take this mark of the beast. And if you don't, or if you do take the mark, then you're cast into the lake of fire. And I think a lot of people don't understand why this is such a detrimental um, maneuver on your part during that time frame and why it's going to be such a bad thing. We also probably like to question God and say, how can this be, Lord? And how, yes, there's disobedience. We understand disobedience. We understand sin and sinning against God. God does forgive us. Why is this unforgivable? Why is this a um, a one-way trip to the lake of fire and obviously um, separation from you and Jesus and God forever? Just by a simple mark of buying and selling to take for survival and during that time. What you have to understand is this is going to be a tool that God will use to separate sheep and goats. Um, it's going to be a it's going to be for the lukewarm. There's those people that are out there that when they were in high school said the prayer, believed in God, Jesus into their heart, and went right back to sin, the world, the ways of life of the world. And you can read about that, about the seeds being planted among the thorns or the stones um, in the New Testament. And they go right back to the world. And this is going to be a tool to test those, and that's the key word, test those that are really with Christ or not. And so what the Lord has shown me, a while ago, some of you might realize I watched a guy named the Grox. And a lot of people think he's very controversial and don't understand exactly what he's saying. I will tell you, when I found the Lord, my testimony 3.5 years ago, the Lord told me, I was watching him and I dismissed him. And I was like, this can't be true. This guy sounds really strange and it just doesn't make sense to me. The Lord was very stern with me in regarding this. And he told me specifically, pay attention. And it wasn't an anger voice, but it was of a firm father, just like he is. And so I was like, okay. I started watching the videos and paying attention. And as I read the Bible, certain things came to understanding for what he was saying. And he talks a lot about things that like just don't make sense to an average believer. And I'm not condemning average believers. It's a walk. We're all on a walk. Uh, but he talks about dogs. He talks about aliens. He talks about um, losing your soul and losing your spirit and it being exchanged for a demonic being that will enter you and you will become a demonic person, and your dog will pop out. And he shows this, and he shows it in some very strange ways, things that can't be denied. So I asked the Lord, where is this in Scripture? And that's kind of what I do is I kind of come back to the Scripture and I'm like, show me in Scripture how he's speaking the truth. And that's what God has done. And it hasn't been an easy process. It's not been definitely not an overnight process. But he does show me how this plays out in the Word, and it's really pretty remarkable. Um, so with that, um, what is the mark and what is exactly going to do? It's got to do more than buy, sell, and trade. So quick story here. This is a flyer. I pass these out at work once in a while. But what it is just kind of to stir people into different things. I hand out different ones, different times. But anyway, talks about my testimony a little bit here. Um, he commanded me to share what I learned. So that's why I'm here. The purpose of this is to open your eyes, stir your heart, in hopes that you want to know him and the truth for yourself. Okay, in the Bible, Jesus Christ is referred to as the morning star, Revelation 22:16. Angels are also referred to as stars. However, Jesus is specifically named the morning star. Satan is referred to as a fallen morning star because he fell in what I believe in teaching us the things of God. And of course, Jesus picked up the baton and we're Satan dropped it and finished for us. Some might argue, Satan was never here to teach us. Satan was never here to do this. Well, Satan, you can't deny, has ownership of this world in some way, shape, or form because he offered the kingdoms of the world to Jesus Christ in exchange for worship. So if he offered Jesus Christ, the creator of all things, the world and the kingdoms of the world, how can he not have some sort of influence or leadership or position over the earth? Sirius the dog star is the brightest star in the sky. Okay, it flickers a multitude of colors and is sometimes called the rainbow star. This is a very interesting star, folks, to look up. Pure white light is made of many colors. It's the colors of the rainbow. Of course, Jesus Christ is the light of the world. The Bible states that Jesus is the only way into heaven. You cannot go any other way. You have to go through him. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through me. Okay, heaven is our home. It's Jesus's home. Jesus is the way into the home. Do you guys get the picture here? I have 2 German Shepherd dogs. Okay, and if I don't know you and you come to the door, they're going to go ballistic. They guard my home. Okay, Jesus is the Son. The Father has his home. The home is heaven. Okay, so a lot of times God puts things on earth to show us heavenly things. And you can say, well, how can you prove that? Well, I really can't, but I do know this. I know the Bible talks about Jesus as our defender, and I know he talks about Satan as our accuser, and of course Jesus, or the Lord, is on the throne as the judge. And we have a courtroom here that shows that perfectly. And we have a prosecutor that will argue and try to convict us, and our defender, Jesus, will stand up and plead with God and show him that we are, a work in progress, so to speak. We also have military rank structure. We know angels have principalities, powers, and rulers. So there is a definite rank structure in heaven, some way, shape, or form. But anyway, let's get back to this. So Jesus is home, and Jesus is the only way into the home of the Father. So we can deduce that heaven is home. Jesus is the way into the home. Ever heard the Lord's Prayer on earth as of heaven? And as I just stated, earthly examples to show heavenly things. So does this ring true on earth? Does our dog guard our home? Is he the protector of our family? Does our dog show unconditional love? Does our dog stand watch for the enemy? All right, our dogs love us so much. They do anything for us, and no matter how bad you treat them, they will always come back to you, no matter what. And what I'm trying to say here is Jesus is the guard of heaven. He is standing watch over heaven. No one will get back into it. Jesus cast out 1/3 of his own angels because of sin and debauchery that happened in heaven, and it's not going to be allowed. And now they cannot get back into heaven. Just like the song Locked Out of Heaven that was sang at the Super Bowl. They are locked out of heaven, the fallen. Okay, so with that, it's further proved that through Satan himself, believe it or not. Oh, Muhammad and Islam, when I was over in Iraq, they hate dogs. They cannot stand dogs. They hate them. And I always thought, why? Dogs love you, no matter what. How can you hate a dog? You just can't. And I thought, well, why is that? What's going on? So as I started, growing in my faith, I started researching Islam. We know, obviously, it's the religion of Satan, but an angel appeared to Muhammad, and that angel would not come into his home because there was a dog. A simple dog. He wouldn't come into the home. Why? Why is that? Why did that angel tell Muhammad to remove the dog from his home, and then he would come and speak to him? That only makes sense if this is true. Satan hates the dog because it is the way into heaven, Jesus Christ, the morning star, the dog star Sirius. Okay? All right. So it even goes back to the movie The Wizard of Oz. I will get you and your little dog too. Okay? So our way into heaven, the door, all right, the open door that Jesus has is the dog. He is the dog star. He is the way in. All right, so I'm reading the book of Job. I don't want you to see it right away. All right. So I'm reading the book of Job, and I'm reading it probably for the second or third time, roughly. And I'm going through it, and they have this dialogue back and forth, this dialogue. And as I'm starting to read it, I understand that in this dialogue is deeper meaning. And of course, we should always expect that in the Bible. It's way more deeper than we think, and that we give, most of us give credit, to the Lord for putting it together. But you read the dialogue, and it's almost dry. You're kind of like, what? Okay, so back and forth they go. And but what's really being said here is other messages in the Bible. There's other things taught in Job that show um, different secret hidden things. And that's evident when you get to the passage where God enters the scene. I believe it's in Job 38. Yes, Job 38. And it talks about, God is speaking to Job and kind of giving him a tongue lashing, saying, who laid the measures thereof? Who thou knowest, stretch forth the line. He's talking about the formations of the earth, whereupon the foundations were fastened. Who laid the cornerstone thereof? So God is essentially telling them, you know, pay attention because I'm speaking knowledge here, and it's deeper knowledge if you can get it. I'm trying to find a good one that kind of shows something. Um, it talks about the treasures of the snow, which I believe is like Antarctica. A lot of hidden stuff goes on in Antarctica. It talks about the Leviathan. It talks about his scales of pride, which could be indicative of Satan or a fallen angel. But anyway, um, this dialogue is very strange. Well, I get to Job 18, and um, this just catches my eye. So I'm here, and I'm reading it, and you have 18, which is three sixes, and I was like, okay. I started reading it. I got about halfway through it, and it's like they're talking about the mark of the beast in this chapter. I scroll back up, and I hear in my spirit this verse right here. It just hit me. Mark, and afterwards we will speak. So he's talking about the people that take the mark, and afterwards. How God does these things, I have no clue. But that when I saw that, I was just taken back. I was like, in a cryptic conversation that happened 4,000, 5,000 years ago, they're talking about the mark of the beast and what it's going to happen. I mean, that's just amazing. So, anyway, and mark and afterwards we will speak. Wherefore we are counted as beasts and reputed in your sight. Reputed in your sight. Counted as beasts stuck out to me, and I'm not going to go over every single verse in this, but it's going to be enough to stir your thoughts. Counted as beasts. Okay, my dogs are chipped. Okay, so that if they're lost, they can be returned to us, and it's a accountability thing, which is what the mark is going to be. The mark of the beast is going to be an accountability item. If you don't have it, they're going to take you off the street. They're going to probably put you in a prison camp, and you're going to have to make a decision. And just like we talked about the church, of Laodicea, the lukewarm, that decision is going to have to be made. Whatever it is, you're going to have to decide. And the time is up essentially. Counted as beasts, counted as an animal, chipped like an animal is what I see here. So, um, we're human beings. God didn't. We're not meant to be counted. We're not meant to be subjected to a government of such harsh rule that they need to count for us by putting us something in our body. That's just not God's plan. Okay, counted as an animal is, and you can also take this back to the beast system, the beast kingdom. So counted as beast is something that really struck me too. Teareth himself in anger. I see this as a demonic possession. Now, when we get into this, you're going to see that your dog is going to come out, and this entity is going to go in, and it's going to be a permanent fixture because of that chip. It's going to be a permanent exchange, and it's going to intertwine your DNA. But anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit. So, shall the rock be removed out of his place? Who's the rock? Jesus Christ is our rock, right? So you're getting rid of the Jesus in you, your spirit, your soul, just like, you're taking him out of the equation. You no longer have the way, the open door, um, that Jesus Christ is. He's also the rock. The foundation is going to be removed out of you. And one thing, pay attention when I'm going through these verses, and as you look here yourself, that we are the temple. Okay, we, mind, body, spirit, outer court, inner court, holy holies. We are the temple of God. Okay, and it says right here, we are the temple of God, and that's how God communicates this mark of the beast. Okay, it's an invasion in the temple. It's an invasion in the tabernacle. Okay, the light shall be dark in his tabernacle. I'm sorry. Let's go up here first. The light, all right, the light of the wicked shall be put out. The light is the seven candlestick menorah, right? The seven spirits of God. It's going to be wiped out. That all that goodness is going to be gone. Okay, so this is Psalms 69:23, and it says, "Let their eyes be darkened, that they see not, and make their loins continually shake." Now, there's a lot of stuff in here on the mark as well. Okay, I'm just going to highlight this one here. Now we know in Zechariah 11:15, um, it talks about the right eye of the idol shepherd being darkened. Okay, now I just watched a video today and I've seen it before, but I'm making a new folder on a thing I have. But anyway, it's about a 16-year-old girl who's possessed, and this demon kind of speaks and kind of gives away some secrets. But she says that when they were cast out of heaven, they continually had evil on their mind, and that everything good was gone. They had no recollection of good anymore. Absolutely none. And I think what happens is the eyes are darkened. Now, if you watch a guy named Enter the Stars, he talks a lot about the eyes, and the lens and allowing the light in. So we have a good and a bad. We have our right eye, the good eye, and the left eye of evil. It's meant that way so we can see our choice. Just like when you wake up spiritually, you no longer your evil eye is gone. I mean, like my sin became disgusting, and that side of me was changed. It was gone. What's going to happen is their eyes, their right eye, their goodness is going to be darkened. It's going to be, there will not be anything but evil that they seek. And that's all they're going to concentrate on is the evil. There will be no good in them at all. And I think that's exactly what God did to Satan. He took out his right eye, he darkened it, and he has nothing but evil at this point. Make their loins continually to shake. That could be a lust, thing. That's kind of what I'm thinking that's what it means. Constantly seeking sexual gratification. But that's just, what I've seen here. Okay. So the light of the wicked will be put out, gone, no good, nothing in them anymore. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle. Okay. Once again, our body, the light, the spirit. This goes back to, Matthew 25 about the wise virgins being ready, their lamps burning bright, the wicks trimmed, the oil present in the lamp. He's going to snuff it out for them. The unwise will have to go buy their oil. So, the light of him shall be dark in his tabernacle. This is a very good one right here. I like this portion. His candle shall be put out with him. His candle shall be put out with him. Now, there's an interesting verse that talks about this candle. We're going to go to that. Okay, this is Psalm 18, and I did a study on this a while ago. And what the Lord told me about this psalm was it's about the bride and gifts for the bride. It talks about the end of days. We're not going to get into it, but you can see that study. But you come down here, and there's a very interesting verse. For thou will light my candle, and the Lord will enlighten my darkness. I believe this is igniting our spirit. This is burning brighter. if you go to, and we can jump around scripture all day, but it talks about in Daniel 12:3. Let me see real quick my Bible here. If you go to Daniel 12:3, it says, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the stars, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. So it's about lighting this igniting of the candle, this igniting of light. So the Lord's going to enlighten the darkness, enlighten your darkness, ignite your spirit, so to speak, is what I think he's saying. But this is all about, making my feet like a deer's feet, setting me up on high places, teaching my hands to war, all these different things. But anyway, his candle is going to be put out. There's not going to be anything in him. The tabernacle will be dark, no light, period. It's going to be snuffed out. So I'm going to stop right there for now. We're not going to go through every single one of these, but there's a few I want to highlight. So there'll be a part 2. Okay? God bless you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.